Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talking with Famous People. I am host Tim. We are with Eric, Lightbulb. Tiff stepped out of the room. We got Barry. A lot of people in the chat room. A total of 10 people here, including myself. We are talking about the development of different types. We have got a few ENTPs in here. Host Eric says he is in the third stage of his four-stage life. Not fully developed maturely, apparently, even though he looks like he's 60 years old. I bet he's 45. Uh, he seems to think that I am seeking uh, acceptance in conversation and relationship, and I do not beg to differ. Uh, I don't know, Eric. Can you re-emphasize what you think about me?
Well, I think that you're a way more successful version of me at your age, which is to say, you've learned to curtail the arrogance. You've learned to position yourself as someone who is putting on a learner's hat, which is then you discover later as you're kind of like doing it, you're like, oh, I guess it's actually true. Not that it matters, right? Because
Sure.
deep down, it doesn't really matter if anything's true or not. It's just how it's positioned. So you're at that stage where you and a lot of people think ENTPs that guy can't be an ENTP, that girl can't be an ENTP because they're too social. They're too like I want to be friends, and depending on who they're around, they might. There's this quality of us is well we can adapt a little bit to be more like the people we're around. So we display a lot of different things, especially at this stage of development. Am I correct that you a person who gets a lot of phone calls and doesn't make a lot of phone calls?
Yeah, you can say that my inbox is a whole lot more filled than my outbox. You can say that in one way, speaking or another.
You're a happy 19. How old are you?
Yeah, you got it. 19, not
You're
in
a,
college, but 19.
you're a happy, fulfilled ENTP, which is you don't have to do anything to get all your social stuff met.
I
People come
mean,
to you. That's how you want it. I was like that in high school, and then I was not like that in college, and it was very hard. I was very
I don't know
sad.
how it is for these other young ENTPs out here, but I will, if I'm alone, I will kind of do a lot of reflecting and think a lot about philosophical stuff, kind of like that. But then when it comes to almost having social situations, when it comes to like thinking about people I'm going to see at work, I don't plan out things to talk about, but we do end up asking a lot of those what if questions while we're talking, when we're shooting shit and stuff like that. It seems to be, I love conversation, but it's not something I look forward to. That's what I'm trying to say.
I I remember specifically a point in my childhood. Was like childhood though. I was like probably 8 or 9 years old when my friend said, "Well, what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to do?" And there was one other friend I had who said, like, "Oh, let's talk." And like this friend and I realized on that occasion that sitting down with the intent of talking to each other was something you could do as an activity and position it as that because when you're kids you make a choice to play something and
Yeah,
you change the thing you're playing. You go through it's serial pretend.
yeah. I had that discovery as well with my best friend when I moved to where I live now in Virginia. But right before I moved, we kind of had that epiphany that we could kind of sit down and talk like that. And I moved when I was 12 years old, so I must have been, 10, 11.
This is something I think women though do as a natural state of affairs is to say, well, what do you want to do? They don't think that. They go like, would you like to get together? They say, would you like to get together? And what do they mean by that? Well, chat. I'd like to get together and chat. And whereas guys are much more likely to say, even if that's what they want to do, they'll say, here's an activity that we can engage in. And then if they chat, then it just sort of chat incidentally as a comment while they're doing the activity. Depends on what the
Yeah,
activity is. If it's a chewing gum bubble blowing contest, they won't really be able to chat very well.
yeah. I would say I am exploring my NE more than anything. Um, yeah, I kind of take it back. I do just love. having conversation. I don't know if that was the point I made before, but that extroverted intuition, just kind of going through things with other people, it helps me a lot. I even have a mentor myself, my uncle. He's a pretty successful guy, and I just love to talk to him about life and stuff like that. I love to shoot ideas at him and have them bounce back at me. And it is a lot better, I'd say. I of course like playing games and stuff like that, especially kind of strategy games where I can strategize with these people and talk about a game. But then again, just reflecting and talking about that with someone is also really beneficial to me, at least.
You know who your nemesis is, your arch rival.
Do I have an arch rival?
I'm about to tell you who it is if you don't know.
Well, I do, but go ahead, please tell me.
I'm talking about in YouTube land. Do you have an arch rival in YouTube land?
Someone, what? Define arch rival, please.
The person against whom you define yourself as successful or failure. Yes, are you better than or worse than Trey Pierce of MBTV? That's your arch rival. That's your nemesis. It's your foe. It's your counterpoint. You see, this is why I like it this way. Because watch his videos and watch your videos. This is way better. Way, way better than. Way better.
No,
Eric, don't say that. Eric, don't say that. Is that what you're going to tell me, Toast Tim?
give it to me, man. I don't quite understand what you're talking about. Truth be told, but who are
I
you?
just was
Who are you?
struck by the similarity. You're the difference. You're the difference between ENTP and ENTJ can be seen most clearly by watching you and Trey Pierce. It's like the same exact genes got
Trey
poured
Pierce?
into
Who's
two
this
different.
Trey Pierce guy?
The same genes got poured into two personality types, ENTP and ENTJ.
Now, I'll tell you this. I was talking with Tiff earlier. I really identify myself as ENTP, like totally, completely. I've taken some tests, though, two really thorough MBTI tests, and I come out as, it does it percentages, majorly E, N, T, and the P is split right down the middle with J. And
Okay, well that's perfect.
no,
We got to get this up on screen. I mean, somebody's got to look at this. It's crazy because Pierce is way more P than most J's, but still clearly J. You're a little more J than most P's, but still clearly P. And that's not really a real distinction in terms of the cognitive functions, but
no.
it's like you two made two people that were from the same egg, and then personality split. Like I said, gotta check it out. It's not off
I'm gonna have
topic,
to do some research
is
into
it?
that.
Okay, fine, Barry. Fussy pants.
We're not going off topic, Barry. I don't know. I don't know how to bring us back. Still host Tim here, so nope, have no idea.
It was about you, wasn't it? No, the topic was about Tim to begin with. It was about development, but it turned out
It
to be
was
about
about the
Tim.
development of types, but it did kind of make sense to focus on us because you are an ENTP and I'm an ENTP in all technicalities. I don't know.
Uh,
Light
I,
bulb, I feel like we're excluding you. Do
I'm
you
fine.
agree with Eric on the whole uh, four stages of life kind of thing? There's your baby. I don't know. Shakespeare put it beautifully with the six or seven or whatever. But you get the gist of what I'm saying, right?
So the four stages of maturity, is that it?
Pretty
Is
much, I
that
suppose.
okay? Well, I guess there's some truth to that because I look back at my life now in my teens and my 20s, and I kind of missed out on some things because I just was naive and airhead, ditzy. It wasn't that I wasn't intelligent. I just didn't get certain things. And then, I don't know, it just kind of happens after so many experiences that how to behave, you figure it out. So, sure, I guess there's four stages, maybe more. I don't know.
Yeah, I think if you had to limit it to four stages like that, I would kind of like to think that I'm in this. Let's just say there's four, and Eric says he's in three. I'd like to think that I'm in quadrant number two, but then it comes down to like I still have very immature tendencies, but I can look at them and perceive them and reflect back on them and then change them in the future. But there's still so many of those things that I see myself doing that I can't really correct,
You're
really.
pretty fucking smooth, dude. All right. Look, the thing is, when I say 4 stages, I actually mean the first stage being adolescence. Okay, so it's not, don't
Sure.
count childhood. Adolescence, there's what I call transitional adulthood, which is a period of about 18 to about 25 or 26. Then there's like premature adulthood, which is like 26 to about 40, right? And then there's full maturity about 40 on. And then, well, I mean, then there's the down stages, but I don't want to count those because it depends on your type. You may or may not have a down stage. I'm not going to have one. So I've already made that decision. I've planned. I've planned ahead. I've planned ahead. The desired outcomes are so in advance.
Good luck.
Anyway, thanks. Appreciate it. Regardless, host Tim, the thing is about the stage of development, it relates to cognitive functions like this, and this is where it becomes something that's, I think, worth talking about from a model perspective.
Yeah.
From my my understanding of it, it's a balancing of TI and FE for me during the whole period between about 18 and about 30 years old, without really working on anything else. It was just like trying to get a handle on NEFETI. Those, I mean, NE of course, but NEFETI, balancing those three crazy things where it's all about possibilities, and then I'm pissed somebody else off again. You're wrong because you're pissed off because you don't like my possibilities. And then, oh, feel
Yeah.
bad because introverted feeling comes out of nowhere, and all of a sudden I'm crying. Oh, great, wonderful. What the fuck did I do? Thanks, TI. And then nobody looks at SI. SI is going, Eric, and just getting completely ignored. And so that's a whole period of like from 20, but see, that is all, it depends how much you metacognate. You can hurry the whole process along by metacogniting a whole bunch. So anyway, I didn't hurry the process along. I didn't know anything. So it took me a long time. I fucked around with those things for a while, and I started putting SI into place when Delilah was born, right? Like, okay, now I got to pay the bills, got to make sure I do all that stuff. And I did. I was very organized and stuff. And then, for me, this is why I'm so behind, right? Then after my first wife cheated on me, and that was that was rough. Even though I didn't even like her, but that didn't seem the point. I really liked the idea of being married and having a
Yeah.
family, and I liked that whole concept. So anyway,
Well,
that was rather disruptive. That took out 10 years. Then the maturity part begins now, basically, for me. But understand there's a cognitive function thing. SI is the thing that makes you mature now. I mean, they're not full maturity. I haven't gotten SI down. I've started working on SI now. Sorry, like Bob. Go
Well,
ahead.
SI, technically speaking, is our sorry, light bulb is our way, way, way back seat, like
Right, but
last.
we have to learn to use it efficiently, not use it more. Light bulb, go
It's
ahead.
the final countdown. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't think I'll ever master that, especially if you haven't yet. I don't know. It's not there. It's gone. It's out the window.
Light bulb, no
um,
matter what, you are going to speak here.
um, do you think your SI would be more developed if you hadn't divorced your first wife? Of course, she wouldn't have cheated.
Yeah, I
Do you think
mean,
you'd be more mature?
no, I think I'd be less mature because it would be developed the wrong way. It's not use it more; it's use it smarter.
No, not use it more. I mean, to
I
me, since we have sensing in the fourth function, even though it's two different directions, it seems like if I can just get my concrete world in order so there's nothing to worry about, then I can focus on NI more because everything in the concrete world's okay and I don't have to worry about it. Because when that goes to crap, then that's when I freak out and because I don't have a whole lot of ability to deal with sensing. So
I suspect
you
that's
think you kind of
because
lost your bases
I
there after your first marriage?
I think you did S. You're thinking about SE right, and when SI's thought about the same way, that's how it's thought about, which is I need to solidify that from which I can be free to be me, right? It's like the foundational thing. But when you're doing it wrong, like I was in my first marriage, was uh, trying to organize my way out of fundamental wrongness. And
So it was a bad base.
I mean, the marriage was bad. The idea of attaining the thing that I had been told I need to attain, of completing the assignment, right? Completing my parents' assignment involved I mean, not that they ever told me this. They always told me you can do what you want. Completing the assignment my parents modeled for me, which is an assignment that I internalized. That assignment involved me getting married, having a kid, at least one, and I wanted more than one, and being married to that person for the rest of my life, just as my parents are still married, right? It involved me working so that I could gather more money so I could get a house eventually, and it involved me proceeding down a TE style life path where I know how I'm going to get more rich. It's by this schedule of advancement listed in the union contract, and it's by this putting this much away for your retirement. So I was doing all that shit, right? When the wife cheated, all that ended because I had done what I was supposed to do,
And it didn't matter.
and it didn't matter at all. In fact, it was worse than it didn't matter. It was a fucking fiasco, and I had done
Yeah.
everything right. So as a consequence, I woke up and I said, I finally understand what needs to happen. I need to become a meth addict. And I did. And that was a good decision at the time. But it's a decision that you wanna embrace for a while, not a decision you want to embrace for 4 years. At the end of that fourth year, being a meth addict was no longer a viable solution to my problems. So, as a consequence, I ceased to be a meth addict. And then I went back to normal, but it was hybrid normal. I found myself a helper, Candace. And her job was to be my SI, and then I would do whatever I wanted, more or less. Except I would do the work stuff because I didn't know any other way to get money. It never occurred to me that that's a fucking stupid way to get money. And then later on, I became a drunk because it was still wrong. It was still wrong.
Hmm.
And so then Candace left because she knew it was wrong even though I was clinging to her, right? Why did you leave me? Why do I ask her that? I know the answer. Because it was wrong. She did the right thing. But we fight it because we're clinging to attachments we've internalized. Well, but I have to be in a relationship. Well, I have to get a chick, otherwise I'm a big loser. Oh, well, I have to want to go slay the puss, or people are going to think I'm a fag. That shit. It's all bullshit. I don't know what to say about that. Oh, there you go. Eric rants again. Thank you very much, Eric, for extra rants. Tim, take it away. Involve others
Huh?
that you can.
Oh, it isn't a rant.
And
It
then
isn't a rant.
and if
It's
you
just talking.
if you get bored, running out of ideas, just draw it to a close. Oh wait, that's right. I gotta stop it. I was gonna go outside and smoke a cigarette and leave you some space. I'll do that though. I'll come back.
If we're still going, I only had a question for host Eric. So, this concludes this episode of Talking with Famous People. I am host Tim. Lightbulb was our special guest, and have a good evening, and a good night, good day, good morning, everything about. I hope Eric will edit this video. Goodbye.
But what if he doesn't?
Then it'll just keep going, and I'll look like an idiot.
You do not look like an idiot. Who cares?
I wanted to talk to him about if, continued on the same thing, how and when he found his passion, like what job he wanted to do. Because he was talking about it for a minute, and what function that he thought it was. It kind of, led him to think about it.
I think that's hard for ENTPs and maybe all the NDOMs. I don't know.
It's hard for me.
some
I don't know
reason,
what the hell to do with my life at all.
yeah, I think it's particularly hard for ENTPs because
I can vouch for that.
to give you a compliment, it's like there's not really anything you can't do. If you,
Thanks.
it's just if y'all can conceptualize it and
Well, ATP.
it's hard to make a decision.
Context. It's very hard to make any decision.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure it's the same for everybody else, but I just go through a lot of thinking, external, internal, a lot of stuff, man. Which is why I like to have somebody to bounce either ideas off of, or just what I'm thinking at the moment. I need that more than want.
Yeah.
Like if I didn't have it
Well,
for free, I'd probably pay somebody to do that, and I wouldn't
uh,
call him a therapist.
well, what? Why would it matter if it was a therapist? Is that a bad? Is there a bad connotation to?
In my mind, subconsciously, yes, because I said that. But
Well,
really, I don't think there is consciously.
no, I think it's good for indoms to bounce their ideas off of other people because there's something about saying it out loud when it's all in your head. I don't know. It's still too abstract, but when you actually spit it out and talk to someone, there seems to be a connection that's made with what you're thinking and what you're going to execute. So,
It's almost like as I'm talking, it kind of starts to click, even though
yeah.
I've been thinking about it and technically talking to myself in my
Hmm.
head or even out loud. It doesn't really begin to click until I begin to express it with more emotion. Maybe I'm not too sure about that.
It could
And
be. It could be
did my
connecting
I'm sorry,
just
did
with
my
your
mic
body.
in?
Oh, you're fine. Um, well, it could be just the biological function of making noise and hand movements that somehow that is has an effect.
Yeah,
Ah,
that is very plausible.
sorry.
Did my webcam stop working?
Yeah, and my one of my cats jumped on my laptop.
I can't see. I'm gonna just rejoin real quick.
Okay.
Way back in a jiffy.
Barry, that's a terrible, terrible instinct. I have it too. It just slows us down. We want to be all original. We want authorship of shit.
And webcam is back.
There you are.
Host Eric, I closed the session even though you were still recording. If you decide to keep the things that we talked about after I closed it out in, I will look like an idiot, as I said in the video.
All
You're
right,
too
see,
worried about what you think.
so you're compelling me to edit. I'll watch it and see. I'm sure you seem fine. Thanks for watching.
Well,